handle the truth.
All right. So yeah, we had some delays. Sorry about that, folks. We're about half an hour behind. We had some an issue. We had a special guest planned for today, but unfortunately, I forgot about time differences and all that. So I miscommunicated the start time, and he showed up like an hour early, was waiting, and then sent me an email. He's taken off. So my apologies for that. Deepest apologies for that, especially to my guest. Yeah, so without further ado, today we're going to we're going to kind of sort of keep the same plan there, minus the deep dive, as I say, into the Mahdi cult's theology. Hopefully we can do that the following weekend or another time. We'll see if we can reschedule that. But in the meantime, we will start with let's call it a bombshell, if you will, of a video. Something that I'm surprised is not going more viral, but not too surprised because we know how socialist media works. It censors the truth, especially when it's protecting its fascist orgs, which I'm starting to, if you look at the big picture, it really seems like it's a BRICS thing. But God knows, the real God. Anyway, without further ado, let's start with a little prayer. Would you like to kick us off, Christian Apologist? I mean, if you don't have...
I'll let you take this one. Yeah, we will. If you want to go ahead.
All right. The Lord's Prayer is always foolproof. All right. So let's do that.
Great.
If you don't mind, I'll do it in Greek, and then you can do it in English. Is that all right?
Well, there you go. So you're better than me anyway.
All right. So, Πάτερ ημών, ο εν της ουρανής, αγιστήτω το όνομά σου, ενθέτω η βασιλεία σου, γεννηθήτω το θέλημά σου, ως ουρανό και επί της γης. Τον άτομο ημών τον οποίο σου δώσουμε σήμερα και άφησαμε τα οφείλματα ημών, ως και εμείς αφήνουμε τους όλους ημών. Και εμείς ανάγκης εμάς υπηρεσμών, αλλήρησε εμάς από του πουρουρού. Με όνομα του Πατρί και Υιός και Πνεύματι και νίκαια είναι στον όνομα. Αμήν. Wow, there. Easy for me to say. All right.
Ameen.
Did you want to do it in English or not?
Yeah, if you want.
Go for it.
Okay. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever, ages to ages. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. That was great. And, you know, what the Bible says, when you're speaking in tongues, you got to have a translator. So
that's it. Yeah.
All right. So let's take a look, you know, on the back of that to prepare us and put us in the right mindset of what we're looking at today, of the video we're going to take a look at. That is, let's first take a look at Scripture. Okay. So, can everyone see that okay? Do I need to make that bigger somehow?
Just came up.
Let me see if I can. Yeah, there we go. That's better. All right, that's bigger. Can you see that better now?
Yeah, that's perfect.
All right. Forgive me for asking you this, but since I'm not the greatest reader, would you mind reading this for us?
Yep, sure. Bear with me.
Thank you.
So, but whoso, are we going from number 6?
Yes.
But whoso shall offend one of these little ones, which believe in me, and it were better for him that a millstone were hanged around his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Woe unto the world. Oh, go on.
Yeah, no, that was yeah. Maybe we should have started. We should have maybe premised it. But here Christ is like giving us the example that children are the model of what society should be, in their innocence and in their faith. Yeah. So, and he warns that if you try to harm them, something that is so pure, so beautiful, right? it's just the greatest offense you can have towards mankind, and therefore the greatest affront, or of the greatest affronts towards God. And I find it quite common throughout these different anti-Christian cults or organizations. They seem to love to target children. I don't see that as a coincidence, including, if not especially, the satanic rite, the Church of Satan, and so on, which also targets children. I mean, some of the vile things. Yeah.
And do you know what's weird as well is some of these have excuses like there's many Muslims I've met that have turned around and said, but you've got to remember 1400 years ago times were different. And my reply to them is, well, 2000 years ago Jesus said this. So it completely goes against your narrative of old traditions or old habits,
Right.
having an excuse for them, because there is no excuse. 2000 years ago, Jesus himself, who so say is a prophet that they well adore, do not harm any children. And if you do, it's better for you to stick a millstone around your neck and jump in the sea than harm a child, because the wrath that you will encounter for harming any child is completely worse than drowning yourself in the depths of an ocean. So that's what he was trying to say. And in fact, drowning yourself in an ocean will be better for you than to feel his wrath if you hurt a child. Yet 700 years later, we have some great examples, and we still have them now.
Yeah, and that brings to mind when we contrast that to Islam, which does the exact opposite. I mean, it seems to go out of its way to pervert and blaspheme Christianity, Judaism. And they definitely target children in so many different ways, including Bachabazi, which I don't think is talked about enough in our circles for some reason. I'm not sure why that's avoided. It seems like they avoid that. I could be wrong. I know too many Marys. I hate to be dropping names, but she does. I mean, she does a tremendous. When it comes to this kind of topic, when it comes to the pedoism and Bachabazi and that kind of stuff, I mean, you want a description. Listen to what she has to say about that stuff. I mean, that stuff will have you cringing. And she's right. She's right to do it. I mean, I hate listening to that stuff, but I'm glad she does it, because people need to realize just how horrendous this stuff is and how real it is. Yeah. So in the back of that, we're going to take a look today at a recent shooting at a Christian complex that made the news, but for some reason it's not being shared in a proper fashion, in my opinion. It's just when I first looked at it about a week or so ago, looking, doing research, as I said, looking on different sources online, I didn't see a lot of mention of who the assailant was. And then, a few days later, I started finding out that she's a woman. And of course, when you watch the videos, you can see she's got the head cover and so on. And so it becomes evident what's going on. And then when you listen to the videos, I mean, it's just overwhelming. And even now to this day, it's about 3 weeks later, you don't hear anything about let's call it what it is, the terrorists, quote unquote, religious affiliation, or their beliefs, their commitment to what they're doing and why they're doing it. And again, you'll see that a child is being targeted here, is being exploited, disrespected. I mean, I don't want to say too much. I don't want to spoil it, but let's take a look. Let's take a look here. Okay, so you see a car. This is parked outside the mega church. What was it called? The Lakewood Church. And you see the driver, a woman with a head covering. She's got a backpack and a trench coat. She's going into the back passenger seat. What is she pulling? Ah, a child in arm. Okay. So she's
Wow.
going through, yeah, she's going through great lengths here to get this child in her arms and carry this child in arm into this complex. And she's armed to the teeth, by the way. We'll see more about that. So hand in hand, bringing them in here, da 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 da. I gotta wonder if this child was watching Farfur growing up, or what his mindset was. I mean, I don't know. I would like to think he's innocent, but not. Okay, I hate that. And naturally, they're gonna advertise their fronts.
Oh, of course.
Their terrorist fronts on our channels.
All the money goes to Qatar.
Yeah. And of course, YouBoobed supports that. Okay. So here we see her highlighted. She's walking in la-di-da, child in hand. And again, she's armed to the teeth. She's going to go into a position before she starts doing her thing. And in a moment here, you're going to see the reaction to when she starts unleashing unholy Islamic hell. Poor people, man. These are Christians that, I mean, exactly other than believing in Christ and actually believing in living a peaceful, loving life, and literally thinking that everyone is God's child, and supporting Muslims as they do this historical mass migration westward, they get victimized. Okay, here we go. We start running. All right, so I'm going to stop the video actually right here because I'm just going to jump ahead.
Okay, something's gone off.
Yeah, she's gotten a little position, and she's just running around shooting people. All right,
Wow.
so yeah, I'm going to stop it there. I want to share this next video now. And this next video kind of jumps ahead. You can look this stuff up yourself. Again, it's the Lakewood church shooting. There's different videos on it. But again, I don't think any of the videos that I've watched have done it justice as far as the true essence of Islam and how, this rhetoric about, as we hear about Gaza and, the Taoists get on there and talk about how human shields is just a lie and so on and so forth. I mean, yeah.
The pro-Palestinian logic, that they're all innocent and Hamas basically just took over Palestine. No one voted for them, obviously, or they haven't been in previous confrontations against Israel, have they? No, of course not. But
not for centuries upon centuries upon centuries, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just take a look at the next one because, I mean, yeah, again, as far as them not using human shields or the women are the victims and that rhetoric even we hear in our own circles, which really irks the hell out of me. I mean,
well, Islam is a religion of peace, isn't it?
And women in Islam are not victims. Women in Islam are just as evil as the men in Islam. Get real.
If not worse.
If not worse, thank you. And I've witnessed this over and over and over again, especially while in Greece. And while I was volunteering to help the Muslims with the historical migration, I bought into what I was raised on about all this things about Islam, this fluffy duffy lies of dawah about Islam, the taqiyya. So I went over there to help out, soften my heart, and all these things. And what I witnessed by Muslims was appalling, including dragging women and children to the front lines of skirmishes, with their skirmishes that they were initiating with border patrol, with police, literally dragging little children. And the women were charging. They have to drag the women. The women were charging head first. So, and they were in the front lines. Again, human shields so they can do their little socialist media clips and share and spread these lies about the police and the West and all that.
Hide their victims.
Yeah, exactly. So disgusting. All right, so let's do this video. You can see for yourself just how much of a lie, how much deception is involved in Islam. Okay. So this is a different angle again. Wait a minute, is this the right? Okay. So give it a minute. You see, yeah, you see a young lady. Now she's with child in hand. Let me pause that. Did you guys see that? She's shooting, and she's walking around with her child in hand.
Wow.
Okay. Now she's taking a position and hiding, so she can have a better shot on people,
But the
random people.
child's exposed. That if there was someone to counterfight that, the child's exposed already. Right there.
Yeah, this is disgusting. So let's watch what she does next. She just goes out, starts shooting some more random Christians because they don't do that. Okay, and the child, of course, is a child, so he's running out. And now, after shooting at more people, and the police now finally shooting back at her, I'm assuming she's like he's covering up his ears. He's traumatized, of course.
Bless
He doesn't
him.
know what the hell's going on. Yeah, he's trying
He's
to
tried to run.
Yeah, he's frightened, doesn't know what to do. And so she's like shooting at people, and she
This would
grabs.
have, of course, been premeditated. So she probably would have, as well, told the child while she was doing it to say things like Allahu Akbar and stuff like that. To because this is not just. I mean, people in the West, when they watch stuff like this, they think, oh, it's only some of them. They don't actually mean it. Some of them got mental health problems and stuff. It's like, you don't realize these people don't want to live. They appreciate death. They want death that bad. They are willing, from the moment they're 6, 7 years old and understand verses of the Quran or whatever they've been handed down from their fathers. Depends which area, mainly in the Middle East, but it depends where you grow up and which type of Muslim family you grow up with. But in the Middle East, exactly, it's terrible because most of the children are told by their parents and grandparents straight away, you're going to be a martyr when you're older. You're going to bring victory to us by doing this or doing that. And it mainly does include and involve death. And it's like soldiers like Hamas, Hezbollah, the Muslim Brotherhood and stuff like that. They are all willing to die. They smile when they're going. And because they believe it that much. They're going to get 72 virgins if they go and do this act. That's what they genuinely, heartfelt, like seriously deep down believe. And this is the problem. It's the brainwashing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Things could
The
possibly
brainwash.
change.
Yeah. I was gonna say exactly. I mean, yeah, exactly what I wanted to include was the brainwashing. This is something that we see across the board with different cults, especially, but including mass media and what I call mass media moonies, and we'll cover some of that in the future too, in detail in different subsects. But we're coming off the back couple of weeks of International Women's Day. I want you to keep that in mind as you're watching that. I mean, what are they celebrating there? How do they celebrate? I mean, my question was posed. How do you celebrate that? Anyone have an answer? How do you celebrate National Women's Day? Do you go like to the abortion clinic and slaughter a goat, or I mean, how do you celebrate? What's the quote unquote tradition there? And then is there? I mean, we're talking about equality, so is there an International Men's Day, and how is that celebrated? What do a bunch of dykes go to Trump Tower and set themselves on fire? I mean, what's your tradition there?
Oh, quick shout out to my brother as well, by the way. He just asked me to give him a shout out.
All right, thank you. To your brother. All right, very cool. Little brother, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, what can I say, guys? I mean, it's just I'm putting it all together because it actually is all together. It comes all from the same anti-Christian spirit. We already have Mother's Day. We already have something that's actually celebrating a woman in her motherly role, in her wife's role even. And it's a spirit of thankfulness, Thanksgiving. Contrast that actually now to Women's Day. And what spirit is that done? The same spirit that we're witnessing in this video. Let's be frank. That's what women are being conditioned to and being activated to do. To not only hate on men, but to manifest it.
And to divide us as well. It's
Yeah.
that's why it's separate. You don't see a Happy Man's Day, do you? It's just International Women's Day, or
Right.
Gay Month, or something like
Right.
that.
Right.
There will be soon a Western holiday celebrating Islam. I can assure you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
It's
St. George's Day is coming up, and we're not allowed to celebrate that.
that's
Here in the UK, we're not allowed to take emblems or badges or stickers or anything of sorts into UK British schools because it's offensive to BAME, minorities, and also definitely to the Muslim side of the UK, which represents only 6% of the population, but still we're not allowed to do it because it's racist.
how things are changing. I mean, I kind of laugh at the idea that they're winning because they're advertising that their mosques are closing, that there's thousands and thousands of apostates and all that. I've got to wonder if that's just propaganda disinformation. It could be true, but
I don't think it is.
you think they're leaving?
If anything, it's on a rise. Here, definitely.
I agree. I mean, either the worst of the worst are leaving the Middle East and going west, and maybe that's why it's declining over in the Middle East. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just.
There's probably a decline in Hamas currently as Israel are moving forward in Gaza.
Then there's that.
I wouldn't say there's a decline in Islam. Most definitely not.
As one of my favorites says, boom!
Alan and Snack Bar.
That's a shout out to Rob Christian. I love that guy. All right, so let's watch the rest of. I think we pretty much get the impression here. I mean, but let's watch the rest of what happens next. Okay, so now we got the cop shooting in the back, and again, she's with child in hand. Again, she's not telling the child to stay there, to take cover, to hide. She's running around shooting people up with child in hand. With child in hand. Now, I dare any of these Dawists, and I'm no debater, I dare any of these Dawists to come out now, or any Muslims that happens to be watching, or if you're not cowering, come up and tell us how this is a religion of peace and how the human shield thing is just a lie.
Yeah, and I invite any Muslim that's watching this now to get your imams also to contact me to have a debate, because I haven't had a debate now for quite a while. Since being blocked on Hamza's den, I can't get access to any Muslim scholars now, or any imams or anything like that for some reason. I don't know why, but they're avoiding me, and I'm getting pretty bored and fed up. So if anyone does want to have a little, a friendly debate, then please get in touch.
Well, it wouldn't be much of a debate with me because I'm not a debater, but it sure wouldn't be friendly either. I mean, nothing but facts, and you can go, you know what? So
it's just the truth. If they can accept it, that's fine. But that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
Bring things to light.
Yeah. All right. So sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, we need to. That's what we do. We're here to bring things to light.
Yeah.
Things that people don't know.
Yeah.
That they should.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I mean, they're they're by mass media being, they're being dawah. They're being lied to. They're the exact opposite. It's not only a lie. It's not only deception. They're being conditioned with the exact opposite of reality. The exact opposite, which is diabolical.
Yeah. And if you want to see how horrific it is, may I invite anyone watching this to go and watch Dor, D-O-R, Shahar, S-C-H-A-R. I think that's it. Dor, he was a Palestinian child who grew up in Palestine in a Muslim family. And you need to seriously, he's got a warning. If you type in Palestinian warns world of Hamas on YouTube, there's a guy being interviewed by another lady, and his story is absolutely just, it put me over the other day. I was nearly in tears because of it. And that's very hard to do because there's not many films or anything like that that can bring tears to my eyes, especially like that. He's a lovely man, and there's just no need for the stuff that he endured. Just because he refused to want to kill people. He wanted to be a doctor, and he had a hell of nasty life because of that.
So he wanted to be a healer, and for that he got tortured by Muslims. How about that?
By his own dad. Yeah.
Wow.
He was forced to sleep with sheep out in the open in the Middle East where there's snakes, rats, rain. He was petrified of the dark. It was a 40-minute run from the house. He was just left out there on his own. But go in and in the YouTube search bar and type in Palestinian man warns world of Hamas, and you'll find it. And honestly, it's such a lovely video about the change and what happens when he finds God, and that it's great that he's still alive, but it gives you an idea also of what these people are marching for. They have no clue what they're marching for. We're here to save innocent children, and don't know that half of the videos that are being put up by Hamas are done with makeup, or they're videos from Syria and Yemen years ago, and they're just being reposted by Hamas. And all the videos that come against Israel or have anything to do with propaganda or news about Israel is all from Hamas. All the numbers are from Hamas. They're not from anyone else. Israel ain't bringing up saying, by the way, we killed 100,000 people today or anything like that. Of course they wouldn't. So all these numbers, figures, pictures, videos, they're all from Hamas, from the people who are sat in Qatar in the Four Seasons Hotel, the leaders using propaganda to blind people like us. So we donate, the money goes to the charities, then goes straight back into their hands. They build more warfare, and have more money to get more weapons. Iran gets richer, and then guess what? They'll try again and do another attack until eventually Israel's consumed. Then where? Rome. Then where? The rest of the West. That's how it's working. The only reason Qatar are annoyed at the moment and stuff like that, and some people, some of the Islamic states haven't agreed with what Hamas have done, is because they reckon it was too early. They wanted this to happen in a good 5 or 10 years' time when there was more Muslims. That's why I'm saying that, I don't agree with that Islam has got a decline, because it hasn't. Only in Gaza currently. But that's it.
Okay, cool. I feel like I owe Paul 1,000 apologies. Paul just joined us backstage.
Let's bring him on.
Bring him up. Hello, Paul. How are you?
I made it. Sorry.
Don't apologize. It's my fault. I should have. Yeah, forgot about the time change. Messed things up.
Good evening, Paul.
Good evening.
You were actually on time, so it was my mess up, my rookie mistake. So yeah, thank you for joining us. I'm elated that you're here with us. Did you manage to catch any of the video that we just shared?
I saw all of that. Thanks to your sharing the videos. It's horrifying. I'm not saying I'm an expert in anything regarding the way things were done here, but I think the woman entered with the purpose of having harm done to her by the security in this building. I mean, she came in intending to start something, but I think she came in with intentions of she must have known they had armed security. That's all I can think of. And if she didn't, I hate to think of what her other goal was.
Most definitely she would have, because like I was explaining earlier, death to them is martyrdom. So,
well, was there anything that proved she was Muslim? Because I was looking for that.
Yeah, well, I finally found some sources online. I don't have them handy, but there are sources that confirm that she's Muslim. I mean, other than her head covering. But we're getting ready to watch another video, another clip, which also sheds some more light. I didn't see
her. I wasn't sure that was a head covering or just a hoodie. I couldn't tell from the video.
Yeah, that's a good point. But It is a head covering, and I'm certain, like I'm 100% certain that she's Muslim because I did find. I mean,
It
it's
says
like
in the
I found,
publications she is.
yeah, yeah. I might have like looked easily over 50 links, and out of those links, there's like I don't know a handful that did confirm that she was Muslim. But
Did
you
you
know,
read the ones where they
Sorry.
think it's a response? I mean, the police chief had made a comment, or I should say, assistant police chief had made a comment that one of her relatives had sought advice, and didn't say regarding what, with this church.
No, I missed
So,
that.
yeah, that's one. I mean, I that was through one of the links you had sent me, and I was trying to figure out what that was in respect to. There was never anything really said. And Joel Osteen is really, it's not a Christian church, it's a scam church.
Interesting.
So this is not a place you would find strong believers in Christ. This is a place where you find duped people. He does not preach Christianity. He preaches, it's not a Christian church at all. That's my best way to put it.
Well,
He scams people, and that's why it's that big.
Oh, these mega churches.
Okay, so
he's bad news. Nobody should trust Joel Osteen. He is
great.
He's a scammer who uses the Bible to make money. That's all he is.
That's so bad.
There's plenty of them around.
Well, that's embarrassing. Sorry, go ahead.
There's a couple other ones that are out there that are big, but at this present time in the United States, there's nobody who takes the cake as big as this guy. He dupes seniors. He has a message that tends to go to senior citizens more, and the mentally weak, easiest. And that's the thing that bothers me the most about this guy. That's one of the reasons why you see the armed security. I don't think it's because
I should have been laughing.
I think the armed security there because you get paid. You're a policeman. You get an extra job. You don't think about where you're going so much. You just think of it as a job, and I get that concept. But he has those armed security because people who are Christians find their parents or whatever giving money to this guy. They'll give their last penny to this guy. Again, he's a scammer, so they'll go there angrily, and that's why he has the armed security.
Wow.
Now, my church, a lot of churches across the United States, they'll have someone who just simply carries. We don't need to pay the armed security. Most churches don't pay armed security. That's why they had armed security. They're a scammer. But most
security,
churches, most churches have what's called ushers, and ushers are the security. Do we need to be armed? I recommend that every church have someone armed
these days,
especially because of liberals and Muslims. I think that one person in every church should be what we in the United States we call you can actually do carry unconcealed, you can concealed carries. In some states it's called a CCW, concealed. You basically concealed carried weapon. That's what it means.
Yeah.
And
right. It's like private security, basically. It's not on show for the kids to see and people to be frightened of, or but it's there as a precaution.
Yeah, and it looks like Paul's frozen. There he goes,
and I think.
And I think it froze again. There we go. Okay, you're good. You're back now.
This makes no sense. I paid decent money for them to do that. Every time I do something, I think somebody's trying to silence me. Is what it is. No, I recommend the CC. We have most places will have an usher carry or someone responsible. A lot of churches do this, and they don't tell anybody. It's just because in America anybody can carry. As long as you have the CCW. And I live in one of the most liberal states, so it's hard to get it. And in New York State, they don't make it easy. You have to have all these things. In a lot of states that are more conservative, let's say take you about a two-year time period to get your CCW here, depending on which county you live on. I'm in one of the more liberal counties, so it might take me 2 years. Go south, maybe a county, one county south, or east or west, you might be able to get yours within 6 months.
See, I wouldn't have any concerns. I mean, you guys are all right in America, because if anything was to happen bad, like, say another Ottoman Empire came, at least you got the rednecks to defend you. We've got nobody here.
Oh, no, we don't have it's not rednecks. Oh, forget, no, we're not rednecks. Oh, no.
No, I wasn't saying you.
We're the average American. We're the average American, I would say, carries.
Yeah.
Point. And we can thank Obama for a lot of that, because more weapons, more pistols, and Biden for that, because more pistols and guns have been purchased under them than under any other president. So thank you, Obama and Biden for it's we call him Biden, if you didn't know that, because Biden has dementia. Biden has dementia. And Obama is the only president that hasn't left after serving. So he stayed in D.C. So we think he's actually giving the orders out.
Interesting. I don't know that.
Yeah.
Barack Hussein, Obama. Yeah. Well, good old
personally, for me, I couldn't go to a church that had to have a gunman there, to be honest. It's not because of the comfort, but it's just like, I'd actually rather take a bullet for my faith in Christ than send one, if that makes sense. But that's probably because I grew up in a country that, doesn't have guns. Well, to me, like, guns are like, woo, that's extreme, but over where you are, it's pretty normal.
I grew up in a family where my father taught us that you only point a gun at a person if you intend to kill. You don't. So, and it's not. I personally don't own one, but my sons do. Their grandfather was a gun collector, and he had some great guns from the 1700s, flintlocks, and other things that they got to see, and it's kind of exciting. I'm going to end up purchasing something because of the line of work that I do. So I've got to have something to protect myself. And it's not just from crime. You want people to feel secure. You want to feel secure in your neighborhood and where you are. I'm in a nice neighborhood. Most likely nothing will happen. I have been followed by the government before after exposing something they did. That's the only time I've actually felt uncomfortable, and that was under Obama.
My brother, who's watching, he just said, you owned guns, and I was like, this is different. I didn't own any guns myself. Like the guns that I had when I was younger, I had what they call air pistols, like 177 guns. That's not guns. These are talking about like 9 mils Glocks.
Well, average. Air pistols. I think children can. I don't know if children can own those. They used to be able to.
Yeah, you used to have the Daisy Red Rider, wasn't it, when you were kids?
Well, those are BB guns.
I bought my boy. I bought my boy one.
We used to go outside and shoot those as children. Now in New York State, you have to be 18 to purchase one, or it might be 21 because we're in New York State.
Wow.
And although they have pellet guns, and I think they might even make us buy them for children too. So I got one. You want to hear some humor? My son we got my son one of these air rifle guns, a pellet gun. Okay, it got little plastic things, beads they shoot out, not like BBs. And my son's he's a smart kid. We had a guy in our neighborhood who was stealing bicycles. My son figured out how to zoop up his air pistol gun. He put his bike outside by the tree and set up in his sister's bedroom with his gun, waiting to shoot the kid. The kid came along, bing, 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 bing. The kid's running up the street, bing, 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 bing.
Wow.
All the way up the street.
My brother did the same.
Plastic pellets.
No kidding.
My brother shot the postman with
Wow.
this
Oh, no.
Webley Typhoon I had when I was about 18, 19. He come and
Where's
well,
this
just
stream
like,
going? I'm like
Yeah.
showing a video of a Muslim woman like shooting people up, and we're talking about guns. But let me just say, like, another thing that doesn't make the news enough is how many times people with guns stop these mass shootings and so on.
That's exactly what this is a great example of that. And this is why no one in the United States knows about this.
Yeah. And it's a Muslim.
So I didn't even know this. They never put it on the air.
Yeah.
It might have made a day's worth of news. They in the United States, they're so liberal, they hide anything where the good guy shoots the bad guy.
Well, this blows up all their rhetoric. I mean, all the things we just touched on, how guns actually save people, how, female Muslims are also terrorists. The human shield thing is not a lie. In fact, we're seeing it right here when she's using her own child.
I wasn't sure from watching that.
Oh, you're frozen again. But the last video that we just showed at the very end,
That's
I mean,
one of the
actually,
things that bothers me. Am I
you're
back?
Can you hear us? Yep.
Okay. I was gonna say I watched every video that I could on this, and it bothered me that I couldn't figure out where that kid got shot.
I don't. Actually, there's a description. I'm glad you brought that up.
They said where he got. I mean, he said where on his body, but
Right.
how he got shot is what I should be saying.
Oh yeah, okay. I got you.
And I don't think it.
It wouldn't have been the security.
That's my point. I think the mother shot the child.
Oh boy.
Was not intentionally, maybe not intentionally, but there's no way a trained officer. Most of those that were on that security team were off-duty police officers. There is no way that they would take a shot where they thought they could endanger a child.
And I take it that's the narrative the left are trying to push. Are they the liberals? Are they trying to push
No,
that?
This is hidden. This whole story is hidden. No one knows about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I didn't. I heard about it the first day it came out, and it hasn't hit the scene. It has not been in the news since.
You see something like this back in in the early 2000s. This would have been mainstream news, and it wouldn't have just been in US. This would have hit us as well. We would have seen this.
Oh since early. It have to be before 2001. That would be the only way. Because after George Bush left office, is what I should say. If it was around the time George Bush Jr. was in office or George W. Bush was in office, then it's possible it might have been in the news. But the liberals have been controlling the media for so long, they've been hiding these news stories.
Yeah, it's got really
anytime the good guy shoots the bad guy, they've been hiding it.
Yeah, the 2000s for sure. I mean, that's when news anchors started using adjectives and showing all these emotions, which is it's against journalism 101 to do that. But it just got really bad. And these days, again, as we're saying, they're sharing the exact opposite of the truth instead of just disinformation, misinformation. They've been doing it for I don't know, a couple of decades at least.
Yeah.
So. Let me give a warning before we watch the next clip. So I'm glad you brought that up about where the kid got shot and all that. This next segment gets a little more graphic. So those are, if you happen to have a child around or if you're, bothered by this, please, now's the time to tune out and join us again.
I just want to say before this video gets showed that I, under any circumstances, will never unalive myself.
And alive. That is suish-eyed. Anyway, yeah. I don't mind not saying that on air, but let's not get off on a tangent. All right, here we go. Listen to what she's, by the way. Everybody's on the radio freaking out. Like, come,
Wow.
yeah.
So the police
She got a
are.
vest on then.
Yeah. So the police. This is just shows everybody. Police are fearful too of being shot. This is an off-duty policewoman. She is hired as a guard, and yeah, she has two jobs here, and that people don't grasp. She has to protect the people inside, which is the masses of people who are easily duped, and she has to respond, and she has to make a choice, which is more important. What if that person with a gun that's coming forward might be coming down the hall? She could be the last point that has to stop the person. If she goes forward, is she giving up the space that she's supposed to defend? So this is a decision I would not want to have to make.
Interesting. Very good breakdown. Appreciate that. I didn't think about that. Yeah, and of course, the whole she's shouting, "I have a bomb." I'm not sure what that's about.
That's what I was going to ask.
Repeatedly. Yeah, she came with a backpack, and it did not have a bomb in it. I think that was the purpose of her bringing the backpack. If she brought it, I didn't pay attention. So churches in general in the United States, I will say my church as well, we do not allow backpacks in the sanctuary.
You're kidding.
So no, we do not allow backpacks. We do allow, you can, I'm the lead usher in my church, and I've written the policy manual for our church. We don't allow the backpacks. What we'll do is we'll say, hey, if you brought a backpack, can we just put it in this area? We'll lock this up during the church service. And they'll usually say, sure, no problem.
That's incredible.
That way it's secure. Yeah, if we don't do that because of Muslims is what it comes down to. We haven't had any nut cases beyond the Muslims, who might claim they're insane afterwards, but we haven't had that. Haven't had a violent encounter with someone in the churches I've been in. We've had to physically remove people, but that's because they're not all there and up in the head.
Pentecostals?
I'm sorry?
Pentecostals?
Oh.
Pentecostals is I probably would call myself that. I'm more of a Pentecostal than I would call myself a Baptist-costal. But strong doctrine and belief that the gifts are for today. That's what I would call what I am. Joel Osteen, you can call him the imaginary Christian because he's not there. He's not a believer. He's not a disciple of Christ. Let's make it that simple.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and that whole thing reminds me of a movie on the Leap of Faith, which kind of addresses that. It was, I think, from around 1990, give or take, with Steve Martin, Deborah Winger. Liam Neeson does a small role in there. It's one of my personal favorites. It actually talks about that, about these people that are taking advantage. But yeah, I don't want to ruin it. But if you watch the movie all the way through, I think it has a good message in there. So if those haven't watched it, I recommend it. Leap of Faith. Yeah, Steve Martin.
Look at that one.
Yeah.
Cool. I watched it. Should
we watch the rest of this? I mean, it's kind of graphic and gross. Is there a point in watching it? What do you guys think?
There is I don't think this is necessarily. It's very protected. I don't necessarily think it's gross because the ones these are the part of the ones I was sent. I don't think there's anything. There's nothing graphic because no one is seeing being shot.
Yeah, fair enough. You're
right. There are only there are weapons drawn. There are weapons shooting. But this is where, after having watched this, and this is the thing where people would understand, you'd have to be you'd have to be a crime tech to figure out who shot that kid, because these videos don't do it. Yeah,
I mean, we definitely can't trust the Muslims' word for it. I mean, I'm sorry to sound that ugly, but that's just the reality of it. They're just, the key is part of the religion. So,
I ain't saying anything.
Yeah.
Well, so historically, I will say it. You remember when the Muslim Brotherhood took over, and then when they lost power, the new Assisi was taking over as the general. That's the Egyptian army's job when you have a bad, corrupt president. I don't know if you're aware of that. That's the Egyptian army's job, is to oust the president. It's actually part of their, I believe it's in their government structure that's the responsibility of the general to do that, head general.
Yes.
So he goes in. He's supposed to take them out. The news here in the United States and in Europe, the Reuters news was reporting a certain amount of deaths. I was on Twitter and I found somebody in Egypt who was listed as the way his description was, it was conservative. And I said, it says so many people have died, and that they're currently being, that they've been killed by Assisi's men. Is this true? Person responded, I work in the morgue. They just brought 7 in. Where did you get this number from?
Wow.
And he says there's a problem with the description that I copied and pasted the article in the Twitter tab. There's a problem with what you're saying. I says, I'm not saying it. It's the news. I copied and pasted it. Even that he says there's a problem. He said everyone was either shot in the head or in the heart once. That's it. He says this doesn't sound like armed forces going in.
Wow.
Special ops, maybe.
Wow.
So I said it. Look, I have no problem believing they killed each other because the purpose is propaganda.
Wow.
They might have fully stood up to do it. Yeah. So I don't know if Assisi's men. I don't think Assisi's men had to do anything to get in. I think they sacrificed themselves in order to give Assisi's men bad propaganda.
I'm blown away. I'm speechless. Wow.
Yeah.
First I heard of that.
Yeah. This is the one thing I like Twitter for. It's only good for the moment, and that's the only thing that it's good for, unfortunately.
All right, so let's get back to this so we can wrap this up. I've decided, I think let's watch this. You're right, it's not too graphic, but I think it's something that everyone needs to watch, including Muslims.
Yeah, definitely.
Muslims
I haven't seen this.
Yeah. And I want to ask some questions about the reward. I mean, what was the purpose, the mindset of this woman coming in here doing this?
There is no reward for women. So that's a good question. There is no reward for women jihadis.
Really?
Wow.
What? No 72 virgin men?
No, there's no such thing.
Just for men.
Yeah, that's it. It's a just for men thing. Jihad is just for men, but they allow women to take part because they're foolish.
Yeah, to say the least. All right. Oops. Okay, so
can you? So I want to point out in another video, she is now facing 2 security guys. One is unarmed, one is armed. Mm-hmm. He's giving a demand: put your weapon down.
Yeah.
And then she's yelling back in response.
Yeah.
They're right and facing each other. They're facing each other, physically facing each other. And she's still firing at him and arguing with him. He
and the
puts
child's
her down
with
on
her.
The ground. No.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
at that point, I don't think the child is with her. I think the child's on the ground.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Let me keep going here. Okay. She's saying, stay calm. All I need is help. So 1 minute she's saying, I have a bomb. And the next saying, all right, I need help. Which is something
she
that
shot.
Muslims...
She shot at that point.
Yeah, but I also got to say that Muslims do that. They'll sit there and they'll use bait. Hey, come help, and they wait for people to come help, and then they'll shoot them. So as you're saying, she's shouting these things. Stay away from me. I've got a bomb, and now she's yelling, "Help, help!" But she's still shooting.
And all of what you're saying is true. And the purpose of her saying bomb is they're scared that if they approach, the bomb will be set off. So you're going to hear that she's down. And in the United States, the police officers are trained that there is a secondary expectation. They will set you up to respond to an incident.
Yeah.
All the police will come in. The police will come in, and a secondary device will explode. It's not good. So you'll listen. This is why the woman is put down after she said she has a bomb. She's not responding, so they end her ability to respond because they fear that if she can, she will just set off the device that she claims she has.
Thank you for clarifying that.
I got one female shooting rifle. I'm pinned down against the wall.
Yeah. I mean, this is not the best angle. I see it. I guess she's shouting for help.
You'll see how quickly they respond in a minute.
Yeah. I guess she's crying for help. Yeah, I mean, that part right there kind of reinforces what you're saying. Like she's really trying to unalive herself or like end her life there. I mean, it makes no sense for her to be shouting help, 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 and keep shooting. But at the very end, she says, I've got a bomb, I've got a bomb. I can't put my gun down. I've got a bomb. I mean, I don't
Why is she asking for help?
To me, it's like she's trying to lure them in.
From
what we see,
help with what?
So
Reload?
there's two. So she goes around a corner at some point in this game. I shouldn't call it a game. In this ploy that she's doing, she goes around a corner. It looks like she puts down the backpack. And before the final shot, she is reaching out towards that. I mean, there's no way to know if it's real or not until the end when they determine it's not.
All right.
So.
All right. So let me just get to this one part which brings it all home.
No, this is actually one of the first responders, believe it or not. This woman is one of the first responders. There's a child. That woman has long left. She has long left her child there.
Yeah. Well, you'll see when we get a little closer, there's a reason why the child was abandoned. And it's gut-wrenching, but I'm showing it intentionally. So hopefully there's a Muslim watching this to see how stupid their religion is. And that's the best thing you can say about it.
Yeah, I just see one. She just came in.
So she had gone around that corner in an attempt to hide from being shot, so she could shoot them as they came around the corner, and it didn't end well for her.
Yeah. But also, when she came out of that cover, again, she had the child in hand, but then the clip dies, and we don't see what happened to the rest of it.
Yeah.
Sorry about the language.
Well, there's not much you can. There is. It's a different lifestyle, I will say this, and it's hard to express yourself with
yeah
adjectives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what I was saying earlier. I was saying, like, in Islam, you're not here for this life. Like, they believe in death. They don't belong here. From the moment you read the verses, like I say, especially in the Middle East, you're told that your job is to basically, take your life. You're supposed to. The best reward you could have is be a martyr. It's guaranteed paradise. If
Well,
you
right now we're in. Yeah, you're right. Right now we're in Ramadan, the month of double blessings for jihadis, and they also have something called Zakat, which actually I'm doing a series on Zakat,
Yeah.
and
Good
we
series.
just
You gotta
talked this
watch
week
that one.
about how Zakat does not mean charity; it actually means purity. And basically, it means, oh, you're paying your way out of hell. So, yes, so they're supposed to finance jihad with Zakat, 1/8 of all Zakat. Every single individual has to do all their Zakat supposed to be distributed. Some portion of it has to go to jihad. And that's it. People don't realize that. So you put a mosque in you invite Muslims in, you have to expect them to pay for jihad because that's part of their belief structure.
Yeah, and it goes towards like buildings of other masjids as well in mosques.
No, it doesn't.
elsewhere.
No, it doesn't. There's no allowance for mosque to be made with Zakat. So
Really?
that brings up another whole discussion. Yes, there's no allowance for any Zakat to pay for mosques. Nothing. Yeah,
That's incredible because that's how they advertise it.
No, that's not what there's no allowance. So the only thing that can go towards Zakat that has to do with mosques is this: you can give Zakat to an imam if he distributes Zakat. Other than that, no.
Wow, that's amazing.
Well, they're only
Didn't
paying
know that.
5% of their wealth, and that excludes their house, their car, and anything they used to live by. So I could live on my boat a couple times. Anything that gets used for life, they don't have to pay as part of wealth.
I'm sure you've heard of Muhammad Hijab and Ali Dawa, who the British Muslim apologists who I've had run-ins with in the past. They advertise on their platforms, ones that I'm banned from now. They advertise on there to pay zakat towards their masjids they're building in Norway. And this was all against. Did you see the guy in Norway who?
It's against Sharia. Yes. So
yeah.
if you're giving these people zakat, the only allowance that would allow them to receive zakat is if they are doing something in jihad. That's
wow.
Yeah, that's the only allowance that, and this is my thing. I did a short video. You want to find out if an organization that's Muslim, if you just, I can pull up a screen if you're interested. Let me just pull it up and I can show it to you. Okay. All right, we'll start here.
Yeah, and if those are watching right now, check out Paul's channel. I always struggle with this one. Is it Sutliffian Report?
Yeah, Sutliffian Report. The reason it is Sutliffian Report is I had a friend die, and the truth is I did not like what he used to say. He used to say Sutliff. He used to write letters to the Sutliffians, to my family, and I didn't like it. I think he thought it was funny. I honestly didn't like it, but when he died, I had a hard time. And then, to honor that death, God was telling me to change the name of the show because the show's name used to be Civilization, Jihad Awareness, CJA, Civilization, Jihad Awareness. And I changed the name because I felt God was telling me, this is January of 2020. God was telling me to change the name of the show because I need to be able to talk about broader stuff. Oh, then COVID comes along. Like, okay.
Interesting. Oh, sounds like it missed good ones. Bummer.
Yeah.
But
I thought it was
I don't know how you do it. By the way, again, I apologize about the timing misunderstanding, but we did get an opportunity for anyone who happens to not know who you are. Would you mind telling us a little about all the things that you do and how you manage to?
I am best way to put it. I am an educator. I work. I'm a retired educator. I am also a Christian apologist. I work as a Christian researcher, basically, and I have enough from retirement and other things that I'm not looking for cash support. I just do this to, my goal is to get truth and facts out and to shock Muslims into leaving Islam. And right now, the series I'm doing is critical thinking versus Sharia. When you take critical thinking, which is a skill we want every child to know, I don't care if you're Muslim, you're blue, you're pink, you're yellow, God knows whatever color you are or whatever. It's a life skill to be able to think critically. We push this when we get to grad school, but why not start young? So in education in at least the States, I've been retired for 3 years. I went and saw school this year. They're trying to push this concept younger. Critical thinking. They want people to begin to think like this. I'm seeing the push in 9th and 10th graders here. I don't know that it's going to physically work because I don't know the children are developmentally capable of these kind of thoughts yet. But this right here, what I have in front of you, it says the H8.7, the 8 categories of recipients of Zakat. It says it is obligatory to distribute one Zakat among 8 categories. And this O, this little thing O, it says right here, everything you see after an O is a comment. All right. Now it's going to list where this stuff goes. So it says, meaning Zakat goes to none. To none. Hear that? To none besides them. That little piece, all in parentheses, none. Okay. 1/8 of Zakat goes to each share. Okay, here we go. 1/8 goes to the poor. Okay, that's 12.5%. People short of money. They call it the needy. You ever heard of the poor and needy being separated before?
Interesting.
Okay, so now let's put those together. We put them together. We have poor and needy. Okay. Start thinking about they're going to get 24 points. We're going to get 25% there. If we cut this down. Well, but if we put them into one category, we'll see. Okay. Zakat workers, that could be your mom, whoever. If you distribute Zakat, if you are an attorney. Now, the wealthy can be Zakat workers. You can be wealthy, be a Zakat worker, and you can still get Zakat. I thought it was supposed to go for charity, huh? No. Yeah. And it's one of the humorous things I've caught. I think it was Cotty saying. Yeah. Okay. Next one.
So that's 12.5% taken off then.
Okay. Here we go. Yes, that's what it would be. 12.5% would go to the person who's collecting the Zakat. Or, however it works out, somebody's getting 12.5%. All right.
It's incredible.
How about this one? Those whose hearts are to be reconciled. This is bribery for new Muslims. All right. You convert to Islam, we'll pay you so much money. And this is being done all over the world. They'll pay you to become Muslim. That's what this is.
What?
Right.
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about?
Sorry.
I haven't heard that in so long. All right, let me go back. Purchasing freedom. Okay. Now, this is where it gets humorous. The only place that we really have slavery today is in Islamic countries. So where are these slaves who's being purchased? Who's getting freedom? Well, are Muslims setting people free from slavery? Have you ever heard of that?
No.
In recent history? Because I haven't heard of it in recent history. Okay. So supposedly, I mean, even I've heard this from Scholars, Islamic scholars, there's no slaves. Okay. So we wipe number 5 out. I have it in another slide that I've got up. I'm still looking for my other slide on this where I wiped out all these things that they said don't really exist. All right. How about this one? Those in debt. By the way, I have a debt. I'm paying off a loan, so you can give it to me. No, you can't give Zakat to any non-Muslims. All right. So 12.5%. So your child has a debt. You can give them that portion. I'm not kidding. You can give it to your child who has a debt. That's the 12.5%.
So they're university fees.
Yeah. If you have a debt, if you're making payment, that child has debt, like college payment or whatever, it can go to that.
Wow.
All right. Those fighting for Allah. This is jihad.
Yeah.
So
12.5% goes to jihadis automatically, but it's actually higher. Look at number 8. Travelers in need of money. So if they're traveling and they need money, hey, give me money. I'm a traveler. I'm going around the world. I could use some extra cash.
Wow.
So basically 100% of their money goes to someone who's a radical Islamist then, basically.
Well, travelers in need of money. Okay, so here's the thing to think about. The truth is, if you are going to commit an act of jihad, you have at least traveled or are traveling to someplace outside your country because you don't want to commit an act of jihad in your country because you want to attack non-Muslims. Jihad is war against non-Muslims. So these two, that would be 24% if we're looking at it, adding those 25% if you're adding those two up. Okay. They're not getting, so it's an actually higher percentage. So they're not buying slaves' freedom. They might be enslaving slaves. So there's an actual much higher percentage. We're looking at, if we cut things down, we're cutting out 2 or 3 categories. It's closer to 25%. It's around 25% or slightly higher because the 7 and 8 get combined for jihadis. How do you think they're getting here? Oh, they're being supported by Zakat. So how do they get to Europe? How do they get on those boats to go to Europe? Oh, yeah. Zakat is supporting that. So think about that. Now you have stupid Europeans and Americans and wherever supporting these. And when by the way, your European papers, when they think Americans are reading, they change the word migrant to refugee. And I read enough European papers, I can say that when they think we're reading, they change that word. It's hilarious.
That's why I always put refugee in quotes because, anyway, the money that they get from the UN, from EU, from the nations that they're encroaching on to come and encroach. I don't understand it. You're explaining here that like the Zakat from their end, they're getting Muslim money from Muslims that came in who God knows how. But why are the nations, including nations like Greece? Historically, Greece has been enemies of Arab nations forever. Why are they supporting this historical mass migration? Why are they building a mosque with 4 minarets in their capital in Athens? When paying for it.
Yeah, so you have to look at socialism and how well Islam is a true believer. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. You can see that with Shiites and Sunnis shaking hands and giving each other money to support jihad. The Shiites support Sunni jihad. Shiites support them. A great example. Look at Hamas. Hamas receives tons of money from Shiite Iran to kill Jews. All right.
Yes, correct. That's right.
They get all the rockets. They got all the tunnels. Yeah. So yeah, that's where a lot of that goes. Travelers. Let's go back to people leaving. The Europeans and the Americans are so incredibly stupid. They don't look at number 8 as being a hijrah. Now, if I wrote a big piece on the hijrah, and I wasn't as much a student of Sharia as I am today. And I see this as the whole purpose of this traveler thing. Maybe down the road, okay, you're paying for your military. Oh, and that's in number 7 also. Number 7 specifically talks about buying weapons. It doesn't matter if the jihadi's wealthy or not. You're giving them money to support their, okay. And jihadis are allowed to rape. They're allowed to do all these things. What's happening in Europe? It's worse there than it is here. I'll say that.
Yeah,
I was
it is.
Germany. I was in France, and I was in Sweden in 2016. And in each one of those places, we met with an intelligence unit. Each one of those places, I asked this same question in each place. Who do you think is behind the push for Muslims to come here? Each one of those places, they said the Muslim Brotherhood. And their reasoning was this. The Muslim Brotherhood are actively involved in their receipt of these people. And so there's a piece they're missing, is the organization. When these people come to the country, they can't come, according to Islam, unless they are organized to resist the temptations. So they're not there to assimilate. They are there to bend you into Islam. So this is a reason not to accept one jihadi, not to accept one Muslim into any country that is not Muslim. Their purpose in coming to the country, according to Sharia, according to the Quran, is to change you, your country, your people, into an Islamic country, into an Islamic people. That is one of the levels of jihad. It would be.
It goes without saying, we're nearly halfway there here in the UK already.
Right. In many places. I mean, even in Greece, like I just mentioned, an example.
I think, yeah, Greece.
Yeah,
Denmark is slated to be first. Turkey will, so this is the danger in Greece going. If Greece goes, Turkey will take it and call it its own. They will just expand their borders and call Greece part of Turkey.
I mean, they've already doing that. Cyprus, for some reason, is being recognized by the West as a separate nation instead of an occupied island of Greece. You know, for one example. Then there's the Firum issue. Then there's a little island. Well, I'm going off on a tangent, but little islands being given off as part of the EU austerity. So, but also, yeah, I mean, these Muslims are coming in. The eastern part of Greece, Thrace, that's already it's full of mosques, and they pretty much practice Sharia there already, even though maybe it's not official. But they're bending knee to that culture already in that part of Greece. But also in their theological, arguably the biggest, most known theological school in Greece is in their second biggest city, is Thessaloniki. And around that time, around when you were in Europe in 2016, 2015, they were taking down their icons in this theological university so they don't offend the Muslims. They're building up. Yeah, they're putting a crescent in their bay, a huge a work of art a crescent moon, obviously to welcome the Muslims. I mean, all these little things, they keep adding up. Sorry, Paul. I mean, it's just mind blowing because we're talking about the Greeks doing this.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Oh, Paul froze. Yeah. So for those that are not familiar with Paul's other works, he's also written several books too, which I highly recommend. The links in the description for his YouTube page and his books. Please check them out. I'm blown away. Sorry, Paul, you're back.
I don't know what it is. I pay for high-speed internet, and we're having a problem. And I think it's they need to work on the wires that are exposed outside, and I can't control that. What's interesting is, again, it's interesting because historically now they refer to 2015, 24 as a significant year of European migration from Islamic countries. And the excuse was that it was a good thing to take people in from Syria. The truth is this: they tried to come to the United States. And in the United States, there were several people arguing against it. And believe it or not, the FBI actually argued against it at that time. And this was under Obama, who was president of the United States at that time. Obama wanted them to come here. The FBI was saying, look, we have nothing to be able to verify who they are, that you're asking for people to be known, and we can't trust, we can't know anything about the individuals coming. It's just not safe. So that was the FBI director, Comey. He testified before Congress on this. Now, you have to ask yourselves, what was going on that Europe was just saying, okay, and they're still doing this. NGOs are now out in the Mediterranean, so just going around. Okay, oh, there's a Muslim in the water here. Let's pick them up and put them on the boat and take them to England or take them to. Okay,
I mean, I was part
happens,
of that. It was mind blowing.
Yeah.
The money
let me tell you.
Sorry,
Let me tell you what they do when they come.
It's mind blowing.
They get paid for that.
Yeah.
When they come from France and they come over to Dover, they deliberately jump off the boats and chuck their documents in the water, so that the RNLI, which is it was a charity founded for people who are in water in distress, that were mainly the people that used to fall in the water years and years ago from work and stuff like that. And but yeah, it's down to them now, and our our civil service, to get them out of that water, to bring them here. And the moment they get jumped off the boat,
stop bringing them over. You take them back, you charge the country. Oh, we caught this guy. We caught this guy's from your country. This is where he says he entered. We're returning him. The fee is okay. We did this, we did this, we did this. That's how much this guy cost. This one,
that's what we should be doing.
Yes.
I mean, it's not against the law.
Yeah, and I wish I could find the article I read on that. I'll take a quick look on that. It's something that should have been done. It should have been being done over and over and over again. I'm pretty sure I put it up on LinkedIn years ago. You had a great guy in Italy who attempted to deal with that issue, and I think he was a really strong guy. I wish I could think of. I'm going to look for that article. It's sad. It is truly sad when we are not able to get the truth out. They're not letting us get the truth out. That was one of the things
we're getting 500 a day. 500 a day we're getting, which is the population size of our second biggest city each year.
What you're looking at, guys, is the this is called the graveyard. This is only life jackets and this is from a few years ago, mind you. Only life jackets that were gathered from the people only in one island in Greece, of all these refugees coming over. I mean, look at this. You know, it's immeasurable.
Wow.
I mean,
that's just one island.
One island, yeah. And this is from a few years ago. Yeah.
I think my articles got removed from LinkedIn when they were going squirrely.
Oh no.
But they will be.
Yeah. So I wrote a huge piece on that. I got a lot of publicity back then, and now that I have quite the following, they're taking things down and hiding them. I've got close to I'm pushing 20,000 connections on LinkedIn.
Wow.
So that's where I'm actually connecting with some incredibly good people and colleagues, and that's what I'm learning. I'm learning a lot more about networking through. I have to say, LinkedIn has been my place to do a lot of networking, which I find fascinating. With Brit, I mean, actually the number is 18,000 something, but I look at. We need to be sharing these ideas and these concepts. And how do we do it? Do your publicity. Get this stuff out there, people. If you're listening, share this news out. I mean, tell why you're sharing it. That's the other thing. Europeans, you use the term Islamization. In the United States, we use the term civilization jihad. The reason why we have differing terms, well, in the United States, the Muslim Brotherhood identified their war against America as civilization jihad. I haven't found anything in Europe where they use the same term. I have found civilization. I have found Islamization only. I'm not sure if anybody else is on that or not.
I'm not privy, to be honest with you.
I think you might find this next slide interesting, where I was
All right,
talking about the money can't go to Zakat. Zakat cannot go towards building a mosque. And this is from the Islamic site. It says, Allah permits Zakat to be spent in 8 separate ways, including, okay, you see this? And those are the things we just talked about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, you got the new Muslims. All right, there's no money spent on a mosque. Nothing there.
That's incredible.
Nothing. Yeah. So, but that's here's the other one. We were talking about schooling, right? If you spend money financing a student, you're financing jihad. If they're spending money doing that, and this is from Muslim Matters. So
Wow.
there are Islamic sites who are saying this. All right. And this is the stuff. I mean, if you'll see right here, this article explains how the term jihad has various meanings. Oh, really?
No,
So
it
you're
doesn't.
saying financing jihad financing education. So you hear where they're using this? Okay. To the stupid Muslim, to the stupid non-Muslim. Oh, Zakat is
Inward struggle.
Yeah, that's bulk. That's it. Is
Mhm.
hooey. My best way to put it is hooey.
That's what
it's
our
made up
mayor,
garbage.
our London mayor, the capital city of our country, is a Muslim, and he actually says that jihad, and he's told people this, that jihad is basically inward struggle. It's a fight with oneself against demons and other things. What a load of rubbish!
Yeah.
Oh, I'll pull it up. We'll read that just in a second. I'll put it up and we'll show everybody what it really says. Let me just pull this up. I've got Sharia right on me right now. I can put it up on the screen.
And I'm far right for believing this as well. The truth. It makes me far right, apparently.
And that's one of the great concerns I have. You and I who tell the truth.
Right.
If you're a truth teller, maybe we just need to do what they do. Repeat it over and over again. All of a sudden it'll become true.
Well,
sorry.
Unfortunately, we don't have oil to sell.
Well, what we're doing is we're sharing facts from Islam. All right. That's all we're doing. And I'm going to show you the actual Sharia. Almost there. I'm on M, trying to get there quick. Let's see.
No worries. Yeah.
Get through it.
While you're doing that, I'm just thinking about the video. I do want to share the last part of the video, but I think I'm gonna do it at the end of the stream. I just want to see the people. I want the people to see the child. That's how we started the stream, talking about how Christ warns not to harm the hair on a child, and how the significances of that, and how all these anti-Christian organizations really focus on defiling children, corrupting them, and hurting them in every ways and killing them. So, yeah, I just want to bring that home. I want to wrap it up with that video. I'll wait to do that. But I just gotta. How do Muslims feel like they're winning when they're living such miserable lives? And they're suffering. They're killing each other. Even, I mean, they're torturing each other. They don't even. I don't understand how that to them is a win, unless they just love evil that much, and so that's a victory for them.
That is a really good question. I can't begin to explain how how do you confuse reality so badly?
Exactly, and that's what we see with for lack of better labels, the left, the people that are conditioned, whatever you believe, unfortunately through mass media, those people are like Yuri Bezmenov warned. They are beyond reproach. I mean, it doesn't matter what you show them. You can show them they can believe that a light bulb is water. You can show them, hey, this is a light bulb, touch it. No, it's water. Like they've been conditioned to believe whatever they're conditioned to believe. It doesn't matter what you do or say. They'll only see it through that schema, as they say in psychology, through that perspective, through that lens. So it's tragic. It's quite tragic. All right, cool. You want me to share it? Put it on stage?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead. So this is from Reliance and the Traveler. Let me just grab the book here. You can pick up your own copy of Reliance and the Traveler. I recommend everyone buy this book. It'll cost you $40-$50. All right. Read it from cover to cover.
Or
right?
if you
I recommend it.
Or if you do some heavy search, you can find it for free online. I'm just saying.
Yeah. There's several places to get it for free online. I'm still old school. I still need a hard copy. I'm not good at reading long pieces, but I'm actually going through this little piece by little piece now. So yes, and if anybody contacts me and wants a copy of this, I will share it. My big statement here, 09.0. Take a look at that word, jihad. And I said, O is a note, right? Jihad means to war against non-Muslims and is etymologically derived from the word mujahada, signifying warfare to establish the religion. Oops, sorry.
Interesting. I've never seen that one before.
Okay. The scriptural basis for jihad prior to scholarly consensus is such Quranic verses as fighting is prescribed for you, Quran 2:216. Slay them wherever you find them, Quran 4:89. Fight the idolaters utterly, Quran 9:36. And such hadiths as one has related by Bukhari and Muslim that the Prophet said, I have been commanded to fight people until they testify that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. See, this is the shirk that they commit, that they refuse to admit. They made a partner with Allah, and his name is Mo. Oh, okay. Okay. And perform the prayer and pay zakat. You notice that? Purity. Yeah. Pay your way out of heaven. Pay your way to heaven while they're going to hell. That's actually what the Quran promises them hell. If they say it, they have saved their blood and possessions from me, except for the rights of Islam over them, and their final reckoning is with Allah. An hadith reported by Muslim to go forth in the morning or evening to fight in the path of Allah is better than.
I'm just laughing because I'm thinking about what the Muslim Taoists, the Taqiyya artists say about this. Oh, well, fighting isn't really fighting; it's metaphorical. It's arguing, or whatever, however they put it.
The whole world and everything in it. I'm back. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know what it is with this today. Is this going to drive me nuts? All right. This is just insane. This is just, and this goes on. The former consist of the ones he personally attended, some 27, others say 29 of them. He fought in 8 of them. We're talking about Muhammad fought in 8 jihads and killed only one person with his noble hand. Really? Okay. And they give, at the Battle of Uhud. On the latter expeditions, he sent others to fight.
In one hadith, he killed 300 Jews in the same day.
Yes, he was So there's kind of a joke with this in that he set the guy up to go do the judging. They picked a guy that had been the go-between. The Jews picked a guy who had been kind to them and was a go-between. Muhammad had set this guy up. He believed this guy was one of Muhammad's devout followers. And he knew that when they called on him, he would do whatever Muhammad asked. And Muhammad said, okay.
Which one was that?
Which
companion was that?
This is I can't remember the name, but this is the courage. I can't say the right name. The last tribe of Jews left. He got kicked out 2 tribes. This time he's going to kill them all. And he does. He kills between 300 and there's numbers as high as 1,000. He commits a genocide. He totally wipes out this people. This tribe no longer exists because, if Muhammad was real, that's what he is said to have done in the Quran and in the Hadiths and in the Sirahs. All right. Sirahs are just the biographies. Again, written hundreds of years after he was dead, so we really have no evidence Muhammad was a real person. But if he was and he did this, that's we should make the Muslims actually do historical research. That should be required for them.
But Paul, this is all about liberation, isn't it? It's all about freeing Muslim lands.
There is no defensive jihad. There is so in that case, this is where it gets interesting. They don't call it jihad when they do defense. That's an obligation. They have obligation to defend your lands. It's not jihad. You're not, as long as you're fighting jihad, non-Muslims, it's jihad. But to defend your land, it's every Muslim's duty to defend their land, so that you don't have to call for jihad. It's an expectation. That's interesting. Defense. Jihad is all offensive. There's nothing defensive about it. There's not one thing in this. I mean, you can read 09.0 yourself. Go all the way through 09 in Reliance the Traveler. Go through any. I've got other books on. There's another book here I have, the Al-Hidayah. You can pick up. There's nothing defensive on jihad. Not anything anywhere. I could tell you pick up different books on Sharia. You won't find if you find the word defense in Sharia and you're talking about jihad, you have found a book of deception. And that's the only time they're again, part of Islam is deception. They have to speak and lie to you. It's required actually as part of their faith structure. So if you find some Muslim telling you that jihad is my struggle, or my jihad is working out and getting fit.
Right.
That's what I was telling you earlier, Nicodemus, when I was saying about they're allowed to, they like us with their mouths, but they hate us in their hearts and their souls. That's the verse that I was talking about, where they're allowed to, that's what I was on about. They're allowed to lie and deceive non-Muslims, and but at the same time, I can't remember what it said. I think it was like hate with you in your heart. So you will know.
So it's a 1915 fatwa. It is in there. Look for the 1915 fatwa. If you guys, Nicodemus, I'll send it to you later. The 1915 fatwa, it said there are 3 levels of jihad. It said the very minimum is you have to have hatred in your heart against non-Muslims. That's the very least. The second level is referred to as word jihad. In that respect, you can deceive, you can do anything, you can do dawah, you can do, anything you can get right, but you don't have enough people to successfully commit a good act of jihad. Successful act of jihad. I'm kind of concerned when you start looking there. Now, what does that mean, successful? Oh, okay. Go on. And the third level is action. According to Said Qutb in Milestones, his purpose of his book is to explain that this doctrine, where there's 3 levels, and where some Muslims are actively involved in jihad, and other Muslims just have hatred in their heart, and some are actively working inward jihad, doing the lies and deception. So Milestone's purpose is to explain basically the Muslim Brotherhood doctrine of jihad. I mean, I would call it the threat doctrine, and I got this from Dr. Stephen Coughlin. He's an excellent genius, retired from our military. I think he's probably one of the best to expose all this. I recommend his book called Catastrophic Failure. His work on this is in that book. Now, he says, Dr. Stephen Coughlin takes this and he says, look, they're saying that Said Qutb is saying you can be at any one of these levels. It doesn't matter. You must be at one of these levels, and you can change at any point. It doesn't matter. So this is one of the things where we see they go from cold to hot automatically, or hot to cold, but they have to have that hatred in their heart as the bare minimum. And it doesn't matter. This is why you can look at some and some seem peaceful, but
Wow.
inside they still have that hatred. And
Yeah, or
this is
behind closed
ingrained.
doors.
Yes.
Because a Muslim,
deception-
I had a Muslim friend who told me, he said, this was one, he was dying to leave, but he couldn't. And this was years ago. He really didn't want to be a Muslim. Yeah, bless him, he really didn't. But he knew if he left, he had nowhere to go. All he knew was his family here. He was second generation. I think now he is. He's old because he's old enough now and he's got his own place. But he used to say to me, he said, "You know when you knock on the door and my mum's with me and she says hello to you and stuff like that." He goes, "Ignore her." I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because when the door's shut and you're not there and whatever, they say nasty things about you and your parents and that you're going to hell and that we should just pretend to like you when you're there and stuff like that." I said, "Really?" And I just I couldn't believe it, because every time I knocked on the door, they were so nice and polite. Yet apparently he was coming out with, when I wasn't there, he was saying that they hate me and that they want me to burn in hell. And I
Wow.
just couldn't believe that. That was when I was about 12. And obviously now I can look back at it and think, I can see why, you know?
Mm. You know, I've got you guys are triggering all kinds of memories and emotions. You know, I've been through a lot of similar things myself. Earlier in life, maybe not so much at Muslims, but I don't want to go off on a tangent by who, but you probably can guess who. But you know, later in life, I had several Muslim friends that were all, you know, looking back at it now, and I mean, it's really, how slimy are they? Like, they're pretending to be my friends. Meanwhile, the whole time they're thinking of me as kafir, as subhuman.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I was shown the Quran verse, or a Quran verse, I'm not sure which one. Thanks, Paul. About you know, destroy the infidels. Some ex-Muslim has shown me that in the Quran in the English translation. And I asked all my Muslim friends about that, and all of them, of course, were denying it at first. You know, they're playing. Yeah, they're playing stupid. They were like, how does it go? Here.
What country you from? What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what? What? English, do you speak it? What? Say what again? I dare you. What?
I'm as stupid as a stupid does.
So yeah, I mean, they just played up like, oh, what? It's destroyed infidels, and then when I pushed them, when I pressed them, you know, they would show their duper's delight. They would actually smirk. You know, like knowing they were deceiving me, they were lying to me. It's just disgusting.
And this is why I think this particular book is so important. This is one of the schools of Sharia. It actually discusses more than one school. One of the reasons why I like this book, multiple schools. This is Hannibal. I believe it's. I'm not gonna. You'll find this in Sharia. There's very few things that they disagree on. Very few, and jihad is not one of them.
No.
So this is one of the things they all have agreement on. This is why the Shiites and the Sunnis can get together and kill non-Muslims, because they agree on that concept, and they will definitely do this. It's a sick, sad truth. This is where we have to look at what do Muslims when they're talking to each other say. One of the first books I read on Sharia was by a gentleman, Jasser Alba. Now he's out of Great Britain, I believe, and he recently wrote a piece that has been exposed as promoting. I actually just covered this a couple weeks ago with Usama this last week. I find the articles and he comments, and we were talking about, they were saying Jasser Alba's article, or his quote scholarly piece. I hardly consider this scholarly when you say things like this. He said in his piece that it's a communal obligation to join the jihad against the Jews when they haven't committed the jihad successfully enough. So he was saying October 7th wasn't big enough.
That's what I was telling you earlier, Nicodemus. You know what I was saying? Qatar, the only reason why they were annoyed, and Saudis were annoyed that Hamas committed it now, is because they wanted them to do it when there was more believers worldwide, like in Europe and in the West, so that they could also not just do it in Israel, but also ask,
Around the world. Right.
yeah, declare Islamic Jihad worldwide.
Yeah.
Like, and this is what I'm saying is going to happen before 2050. Muslim scholars themselves admit this. They say before the year 2050, there will be enough Muslims worldwide in every country for them to declare jihad through the imams and to finally have establish the final caliphate, which is what they, apparently is prophesied in the Quran, and this is what they're all looking to. And when they do that final caliphate, that's when obviously the end of days are coming to them. And, this is going to be a bloodbath in the streets. We're
Yes.
talking, imams will order the people that attend their mosques tomorrow. When you wake up, this time, we're all going. All of us. Boom. Take to the streets, and that's it. Any non-believers you see. And it won't be, do you want to take your shahada or pay jizya? This will just be an all-out bloodbath, and I don't think any country or Europe or anything will recover from that.
And this is
Well-
the thing to think about, the stupidity of Western nations taking in people who are okay with killing you simply because you believe differently. Really, you think it's okay to bring? I mean, are you going to? Let's make this as simple as it gets. You have a house. You live in part of the house, and you rent to somebody. Are you going to rent to the guy that's convicted of murder, and he lives in the same house? He'll use the same bathroom. He'll use the same kitchen. No, you're okay with him having access to your front door.
If I have a
You
death
have your
wish,
children. No, yeah, that's the point. Yeah. I got interviewed here regarding my opinion of this when they were bringing Syrians here. And I said, okay, you're okay. And this is a scenario I presented. You're okay with this. Do you think this is wise? All right. They gave me, this is back when I was working and everybody in the school is like, wow, you got like 6 or 7 minutes. Like, I never even watched the thing. Really, you want to open your front door to the guy who wants to kill you and say, hey, come on in, have a nap. They're like, okay, you can sleep there. He's going to kill you and you're going to be out the door. He's just going to toss your dead body out. And this is what's happening. You look at, I'm reading stories every day where a young lady has been sexually molested. 12-year-olds, 10-year-olds. I'm reading this throughout Europe every week. It's disgusting. Yep. Okay, my family background. My family came from England 400 years ago. My family came on the second Mayflower. I am disgusted that men in the UK do not defend their little girls.
Yeah, I'm me. I was telling you, I was a couple of weeks ago. I was due to go to a protest at the end of this month. We were talking about it in a couple of live streams ago, weren't we? And it was with Tommy Robinson. He's the only person at the moment who is actually standing up against the 1,400 victims that didn't get justice by the Pakistani groomer gangs up just in 2 northern towns. And he's been 1,400. They
It's
the police
actually higher. That's a number that doesn't even touch the great number. That's just the recorded amount of people. Oh my God. Yeah. We're talking,
and it's still
probably
going on.
tens of 20,000. Yes. And they're, what kind of, okay, I get Brits don't carry guns, but not even the police. What does that say?
Exactly. The problem is that people are too scared.
I'm embarrassed by my heritage when I hear this.
Yeah, it embarrasses me. But the problem we have, though, is that if we do, march against them or say anything badly about them, we automatically get arrested for Islamophobia straight away.
Okay,
That's
so
it.
here's
You
the
call this
question.
stuff out, you're
What-
done.
Yeah,
Enemy of the state.
and that my understanding is it destroys your job and everything.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
would
you
love
get
to see a court
silence.
case on Islamophobia where a defense attorney actually challenges the word. Because I think the defense attorneys are too wimpy as well.
Yeah.
Because the question is, phobia, by definition, is an irrational fear.
Yeah.
However, let's take a look at the little girls here. Is it an irrational fear if you're raping my children and I'm fearful that you might do that to my next child? Is it
Exactly.
an irrational fear if you just come in here by the thousands and decide you're going to start putting up mosques? What was the date that they bombed the tunnels in 11/7 or something like that? It was 11/7.
Yeah, we had the 11/7 bombers. Yeah, we had
Yeah. Okay, so a whole bunch of Muslims move in. I think recently it was Belgium or might have been UK or France, where they caught a whole bunch of people building bombs. Can't remember which country I read. A couple was last week or the week before. Building bombs. Okay, you decided to let them in, and you've already seen that they do what, and you're bringing more in. Wait. I didn't. Okay, you're allowing them in. I'm saying this time to the United States, so it's not just against Europeans. We have Biden. I don't know how we allow this to continue, and I'm fighting this myself from whatever perspective I'm allowed to. Unless we take care of things, this is where I think the citizens are going to have to say enough is enough, and I don't know how that can happen. I honestly have no clue how that can happen. I think the number one thing we have to do is take over the media. We have to become better than the media.
Exactly. I mean, all these people, there's a lot of people out there talking about parallel economies and parallel civilizations and all that. And I don't know. I don't know if that's, I mean, I think that's a must. That's something that we have to do as a, to sustain ourselves, sure. But, as you're saying, there's got to be a lot more done. I mean, it's got to be from the bottom up, because obviously the top down. I mean, Muslims are coming in because they're being supported. They're being prompted to come in. The European Union, the UN, the nations, Canada just recently said, hey, bring over the Palestinians.
The Canadians, I'm up on that one. The Canadian idiots in charge. They said, I'm still laughing at this one. I live across the pond from Toronto. I'm in Rochester, New York. I go over to Toronto and speak when I get asked. And I haven't been able to do that since 2020. I was speaking at certain events over there, exposing what Sharia is saying. And I've actually given away one of these Reliance of the Traveler books at one of these events. But these British Canadians aren't. I don't know how they can say they have an independent government when they don't have a real constitution. They don't have a real form of government established. They just have what's left over by the Brits after they gave up the country. They don't have a real. Canadians they haven't had to fight for anything. And I think that's the huge difference between Canadians and Americans, and why there's distrust. Canadians think we're crazy because we'll fight. We'll fight for every little scrap. And we think the Canadians are too happy, too easy. This is the big difference. Canadians have never had to fight for something.
Half of them are off their face on fentanyl.
Yeah.
Well, that's everywhere. Yeah, so, before I knew all this stuff, like back in, 2015, and about a year into it, like maybe a half a year into my volunteering, like a mass media Mooney, I was like I said, I bought into all this stuff and was witnessing all this stuff. it finally dawned on me about a half a year later, like, and then this was after the EU-Turkey agreement, if you're familiar with that, where the EU agreed to take people out of, this is when the Slavs closed the borders and people got trapped in Italy and Greece and all that. And so they're saying, okay, we'll take all the refugees back into Turkey, and then we'll send them back into Europe from Turkey. And the EU was giving Turkey money to do that. And let me also just jump back. I mean,
well, there's a missing element there.
Yeah,
see, Erdogan threatened them.
Right.
Erdogan threatened them. If you don't give us money, I'm going to send them to you.
He does it all the time. And,
every year, every single year.
And then another thing that, speaking of Erdogan, I can't even say his name, but I mean, he was torturing these people that were coming through, especially the Christian Arabs that were coming through. So, and they're finding them and all that. I mean, people were dying in the water. So he was, I mean, I don't want to get off on a political tangent, but I understand how much support Turkey gets. I could go all over the place. I'm sorry. I've got all these thoughts rushing. Like I'm thinking about Constantinople and the strait that they, World War II, rightfully they should have gone back to Greece, but instead they handed all this power over to Turkey and authority over that Christian church by allowing them to keep control of Constantinople and therefore their military presence and pressure on the head of that church. So I'm sorry, I went over all these tangents, but I mean, there's just so much to unpackage and all this insanity. But I was saying how even I wasn't aware of all these things back then. I was like still in kumbaya mode. And it finally dawned on me, you know what? The EU is intentionally bringing all these disgruntled Muslims into Europe for their new Gestapo, because the Europeans have gotten soft and become civilized. And they're not willing to do all these evil things they used to do.
No.
So now the Muslims come in and they're, bloodthirsty, and they're doing all this green agenda stuff, this depopulation agenda.
It's not just that; it's the wokery as well. What we've got here, men aren't men anymore. We're designed now and bred and brainwashed to become victims, and it's all over the West. Like look at Sam Smith. He's the representation of masculinity, if you like, when really like a true Britishman from World War II. If you would have got one of them soldiers now to sit and see what's happening to the West, my great granddad, I know what he would say. Even my family says all the time. He'd say he used to watch TV when all this started years ago, and he'd shout at the telly saying, "Line them up, bloody shoot them." That's what my great granddad used to say. So imagine now, just imagine if these soldiers from World War II were alive to see what's happening now in the West.
They'd have a stroke.
They'd be so disgusted that, yeah.
Lighten up, Francis.
Do you find it hard to hide the fact that you're gay? What are you talking about? What?
Sorry, couldn't help it. It was the only opportunity I had to play that little soundbite. But,
where's that soundbite I like, Nicodemus?
I'm sorry?
Where's that soundbite I like? The Aisha one, is it?
Oh boy. I could play that. Actually, you know what? It'd be a good point to play at the after I show that closing clip of the child, which sickens me to think about. But I want to close that clip, and just how much they pervert children. I think is. I mean, that's the other thing that Islam is doing. This migration is bringing and enforcing this evil. Which again, this is why I don't want to use the word the left, but the mass media monies, the people that are conditioned, they show solidarity with Islam because they both have the same love of evil, the same sexual deviancies, the same bloodthirst, the same sense of superiority and hatred for others, the same hatred for Christ because they love these things. The greed, the love of money, all these things. They share all these ideals, and I think that's why we see so many laws being changed top down, and so much financial support and other resources being given to the Muslims, so they can usher in by force all this cultic anti-Christian behavior and ideology. I mean, again, that's my conspiracy theory, but that it's
Well, the Muslim Brotherhood works together with the communists to with the belief structure that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. However, the Muslim Brotherhood and the Muslims make friends with the communists and socialists because they believe they're easy to kill.
And that's another thing. I mean, China, like they're communists, but from what I'm seeing, modules are actually supporting all this Islamic propaganda. Of course,
Yeah, they do.
China's going to kick. China kills them when they get a chance.
Well, I mean, not really. I think the Hamas leaders were actually welcome in China. Xi Jinping liked the Hamas leaders, and so did Putin. And the amount of times that the leaders have been to Russia and China is before October the 7th was absolutely unreal. Especially during the weeks leading up to it, they were caught there over several times in 2 weeks. The leaders of Hamas shaking hands with Putin and stuff like that. So you can't tell me they didn't know about that, what was going to happen in Israel on October the 7th. Of course they did.
I don't know about China and Russia knowing. I do know that, again, appearances, why they were accepted. This is the thing we have to look at our stupid politicos thinking there was an attempted push in the last 10, 15 years to quote legitimize Hamas as a political entity. That is
resistance.
Insanely stupid. That is the insanely stupid. Not resistance. They were trying to label Hamas as a political entity, not as resistance, and that's where we get the stupid. I mean, these are the way I look at it is I don't know if you have a different name than what I call it. In the United States, they call it the State Department, where these are supposed to be the specialists who know culture and things like that. And they're supposed to be able to tell their ambassadors, this is how you behave here. This is what they believe here. This is how they dress. This is their custom. Well, we have idiots in these positions all around the world, and none of them know the Quran. None of them know Sharia. And they're either, if they do, they are lying through their teeth about what these people really believe.
Or petrified or paid.
I think it's the latter. I think I don't think it's stupidity. I mean, there's no way we're more intelligent than these people that are, in charge of all these things. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's the case.
They're willingly ignorant. I think as most of them willingly ignorant.
Well, do you really think the CIA and MI5 and MI6 don't know exactly what's going on or how they feel, or the SAS or any special Marine Corps? They don't. You're telling me they don't know about this, and of course they have.
So no, you're special. Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you what happened here in the United States, and I'm going to guess the same thing has happened in England. So our special forces have been denied this information when it has been offered to be taught. In fact, they fired the people who taught this information under Obama.
Oh, wow, I didn't know. Well, I don't think that.
They fired all of the instructors that would tell them this stuff. All of them. Obama did this. Wow. And one of the guys I know, and this really bothers me that that this happened. They were all fired for telling the truth.
Yeah, the truth nowadays is lie, in it, and lies nowadays is the truth. That's the world we live in. I'm afraid it's so sad. It really is. It's worrying. I genuinely am so scared for the future of the generation below me and so on and so forth.
Well,
it's worrying.
Yeah, I mean, of course I get the same way. I think we all do, but I think that's what I love about some Christians that are exemplary in their faith, that they pour out their love for Christ and for each other, and are actually still, they manage to show the joy in spite of all these things that are going on that are tearing us apart, that are spiritually gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
and I think it all comes down to what we're talking about. How these people like in Islam and all these other things, these anti-Christian things, how they're living in a hell on earth because of their disbelief, of their deviation from Christ, from God. While others, even if they're imprisoned, even if they're being surrounded by the enemy, they can still have joy in their hearts because they know that they've already won, that Christ is already victorious, that this stuff is going to come to a good end.
Mm.
And it's unfortunately, and it kills me. It kills me that I even have family members, close family members, that have fallen into the conditioning, that are beyond reproach, that will blaspheme Christ, hate me for being Christian.
No, I am the same here. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like they would rather see me dead, and they're currently kind of playing that out. They're enacting that. There's, with the way I feel about it, for decades now, people have been conditioned to hate and attack Christianity, and I feel right now we are in the implementation phase of all that conditioning. I think right now what's being implemented is a witch hunt for Christians. But that being said, they've already lost. These people, their lack of disbelief is their own condemnation, and that shows in our spirit, our true loving spirit, our joyous ability to be joy, to be happy, and to have faith, to believe that we're going to be okay despite all these odds against us. I think that in itself shows the contrast between the two paths.
That's what I was saying not so long ago. Someone said, "Why do you think Christians just love getting trampled on?" I said, "We don't." I said, "But we do it for Christ's name." And they said, "Yeah, but why? What? If you look at Islam, if you say anything about Muhammad, they'd go out and do this to you, and then they wouldn't let you do this." I said, "Well, one thing we condemn violence. Violence begets violence, right?" I said, "But not only that," I said, "we already know we've won. At the end of all things that are going to happen on this earth, we're glorified in Christ. We enter the kingdom of heaven. So we're okay. So we don't need to fight. We just need to see things and have faith in Christ and just let God do his will." I said, "But with that being said, at the same time, I won't sit there and let anything happen to myself or my children." And that's fact.
Right.
Well, and this is the thing, I think you get the pacifists and they forget, and they'll say, well, you shouldn't fight, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, like, you shouldn't respond to violence with violence. And Jesus said, turn the other cheek. How many cheeks do you have?
Two. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Turn cheek. Okay. It hit the other cheek. Okay. I'm not one to say you got to take 2 hits before you respond. No, I do not believe that. And my reasoning is you have to respond. You can't let this go on. We have to take an action. You have to be ready, and you have to do something. What that is, you're going to have to decide. We have to do something to protect our communities. Be informed, number one. Get the word out. How do you do that? And my best way would be to say share shows like this. Get them out there.
Mm-hmm.
Other than my last book, I'd love to plug right now. It's called The Cancer of Civilization, Jihad. It's just on social norms. What are social norms? Behaviors. So it questions behaviors. And so I did this in this book, all I did was go through behaviors that we have been seeing and ask if they are actually Islamic approved behaviors, such as the way you treat women. Are they sex objects, or are they intellectual equals? In Islam, you read the passages in the Quran, you read the passages in the Hadith, you read Sharia. What is really true? Find out for yourself, do the research. You can read that book and then go double check my sources. I made sure I put them in footnotes so you can actually go check it quickly. I don't want to mislead anyone. I want people to find the truth. And this is the thing about Christianity. We want you to find the truth. We want you to ask questions. We're not afraid of you asking questions like Islam is.
Exactly.
They have Stir 5 101 to shut you up.
Yeah,
There's nothing
you're
in Christianity
not
that
allowed to
exists.
test it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the description for those books on Amazon, Paul's talking about, are in the description. Also, the book that you mentioned earlier, I just included during the stream in the description as well. Yeah, as far as Islam's perspective or view of women, you know, they have brains and all these things, and of course, I mean, their deviancy. I gotta do this.
How you doing? I like you. I like sex. It's nice. I like to. Dinky. Sexy time.
Yeah, that's a shout out to. Speaking of another warrior, he's got a really good story. David Amadix, Muslim. He was a jihadi when he was young, and he saw what Muslims were doing to other Muslims. Like, oh, whoa, what is this craziness? And so he went from being trained to be a jihadi at a young age to eventually finding his way to Christ. I mean, he was atheist at first, but then
nobody suffers more under Islam than Muslims. They kill each other, and that, you know what? And here's the proof of that. Read your earliest histories on Islam, and you'll find them saying over and over again, even in recent history, Muslims say they would rather take part in the Ridda War, the war against apostates, than they would take part in Jihad. They'd rather purify Islam and kill off the others.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is why murder of children is allowed in Sharia.
Okay, that's a good key for this. Let me go ahead and finish showing this clip because I want people to see this. Yeah, so yeah, so there's the assassins or the terrorists' son right there. And you know, even though this video is not showing anything, you can see there's two spots that are blurred in a description of where he was shot.
He was shot in the head, yeah.
Yeah. Which is yeah, it's bad, it's disgusting.
Moreno's former mother-in-law, Wally Carranza, said a Facebook post that Moreno.
Sorry. All right, anyway, enough of that. I just want
So I'm not even sure if this is a guy or a girl from when I read on this. It appears that this may be a guy dressing as a girl. I'm not sure.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Well, it could be a they them.
Yikes.
Yes, it is. That's another possibility. So he has, or she has, I'm not sure which, like I said, he has used male identities as well as female identities. So I could not decipher which one came first from the little bit of information. The police chief didn't let. The interesting part was the statement identifies as female. So I think this is a guy dressed up as a girl.
Well, so the police actually used pronouns before even finding out what their pronouns were.
The person's dead, so I can't offend them.
Yeah, that's triggered me. I'm offended.
Oh boy!
It says identifies as female because they said identifies as female. I'm thinking this is a guy dressed as a woman.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what to say. I mean, let me. Yeah.
The guy's married to a woman, by the way. He's married to a woman.
Interesting. Wow.
Oh, by the way, whoever's watching, guys, please feel free to check out my new shorts. They're pretty good and funny.
All right, thank you. I've got the description to your channel as well. Yeah, they are hilarious. I love them. I admire. You know, I'm always I'm one of these people that I've got all these projects that are unfinished. So I got to ask you, especially you, Paul. Like you've got several books that are published. I've got several books that are unpublished. How is it? Do I get to the final stage to get them finally out there? And by the way,
there's two. I would hire. There's two things you need to do. when you're getting towards the end. Finish first. You got to finish.
Well, I've actually got two books finished.
So then the next step is you hire an editor, and when this editor is done, if it's your first book, you're going to feel like throwing the book back at you're going to get in digital form and be thankful. Be thankful it comes in digital form, because you're not going to pick it up and throw it. You're going to get upset. You're going to get angry, swallow all your pride, and just go through and when you're done with that process, hire a different editor. I recommend using Fiverr. The reason I say hire a different editor, editors look for specific things, and they just, that's what they do. They're human beings. They don't catch everything. So I say hire a second editor. They will find the other things that the first editor missed. So you've got your two editors. Now you can go to KDP, the Amazon publishing forum, and you can publish yourself. I don't think that it's easy to get published unless you do independent publishing. I have all of my books are currently published that way. I'm trying to get into a publishing house, and they're scared to take my.
They won't.
Places are scared to take my material.
It's the
Even
same
the ones
here.
I know, my material up to this point has, like the last book I did, I've been told it's highly scholarly. They like it, but because I end up having liberals end up editing. I don't check your card and say, are you Christian or whatever. I mean, I like having liberals edit, because they get mad when they're editing. Nothing else. And I get this response: nobody can say you said anything wrong. It's all documented. That's one of the things I asked them to do, is check my documentation.
Interesting.
And, I always, and I find that humorous. Every time I get a liberal editor, they get angry and they write that back to me. That's a good thing. But you get that part. Again, to just go through Fiverr. One last step: you take your book into InDesign. Do not leave it in Microsoft Word. Take it into InDesign. Now, if it is a nonfiction book, then you want to hire someone like me who does indexing. So index the book and in the InDesign format, and now you have to have a cover done. That's the next step. And you could market your book in audio format. You and your friend here or me to get someone to read your book.
Interesting.
So you can buy a program. You just look up the program I'm thinking of, Audacity. I don't know if you buy it or just get it. I can't remember. I think I paid for mine. Audacity. I'll pick it up. It's worth it. And read the book into the computer. Save each individual chapter as a file.
Wow.
And follow the instructions. It's pretty simple to do. Then you can do, these are audio books you can put out this way. Do that, but get your book cover done. You don't like I recommend Fiverr. I like it. I'm on there as an indexer. There's things you can do, I think, that just make things easy.
Fiverr?
Fiverr, Fiverr. I used to recommend another organization that does freelancing, and I don't do that anymore because I just didn't get a lot of gigs. I'm not paying. I really don't pay Fiverr anything when you're doing. You pay when you are. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. Sorry. Let me.
I think that's probably the best way to go. And KDP, Amazon. You go down to the bottom of the page in Amazon. It'll take you to KDP, which is how you publish. Go through there. Anything you need help or advice on, you've got my email. I can walk you through it. It's pretty simple stuff. I think the hardest thing for me is I have no artistic talent, and I'm trying to describe what I want for a cover has never been easy. I've been really bizarrely off. Those are the hard things for me.
Yeah, I just I'm working on nonfictions actually. I've got 2 more in the works. They're children's books. That's my problem is I really can't afford an editor. So,
oh, no, it's a children's book. How many pages?
well, the one is actually a picture book, so it's like what is that? Even that one's it's over 20 pages. So it's a picture rhyming book. But the other one.
No, then it's okay. You're talking almost nothing. So if it's under 20 pages, contact me. I'll take a look at it. I'm not saying I'm the world's best editor, but I don't think a retired school teacher, I think I could probably pick whatever it is up if it's a kid's book.
God bless you. Well, the picture book was actually the most difficult writing I've ever done. It's been killing me. But the other one is the same story. It's a novella. It's like over 100 pages. So no pictures, just for older children or young adults. But
yeah, you want to hire a fiction editor if it's a fiction, and those are the things you want: nonfiction editor and fiction editor. You want to make sure you're being specific with what you're looking for. It's a lot cheaper than you think when you're getting into 260 plus pages, which is where I was at last time. You want to spend the money. It's worth it. When you're done, you don't want to have to go and redo things. I've had friends look at things like, okay, you misspelled this word. You got that name spelled wrong.
Right.
Okay, I go back and fix them, but it's the embarrassment of, okay, I published this and I got it wrong. Yeah. My first book, it took me a lot of little failures like that.
Yeah, and I thought I was going to be able to get away with doing my own editing, but that's just not. I think I make more mistakes in my editing than I do original writing. So,
a book that's like 20 pages or whatever for children's book would be almost. I don't think it costs $20.
Wow.
I think the minimum they can charge is 25.
Wow.
So,
cool. Okay.
I don't think that would be very expensive. If you are you the artist is for the children's book?
Right. Yeah, I did the art. Yeah, I did the cover too.
So, so that's going to be the easiest thing to publish. Getting it out to a wider market. You actually might be able to sell that to a publisher because it is. Yeah. Well, we should talk offline. There's more.
All right. Thank you.
Do. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, you've already. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right. So, where should we take this? I think we had more to discuss, but we've been on here much longer than I was anticipating. So
I was going to say
I'm going to actually go do something shortly.
Okay. All right. Cool. Perfect timing. All right. So, with that, let me give you guys an opportunity to give closing thoughts if you'd like. Let's start with Paul. Would you like to give us some closing thoughts?
Or
am I putting you on the spot?
If you're looking for the truth, for the truth on Islam, read what they write to each other. Don't read what they think. Don't read stuff that they're addressing the Westerners or this. Basically, when they write to us, they're telling us a bunch of lies. So read when they think. Go find a book that basically is Muslims writing for Muslims. That'll open your eyes. I know it's done. It's one thing to be told something. It's another thing to. I just remember the first time I actually read a book from Muslims written to other Muslims, and I still kind of even reading the stuff I've shared with you. It's eye-opening. It's shocking. Some of it is just downright disgusting.
Interesting approach.
Be prepared to read that stuff. That's the only way you'll be able to understand Islam.
Interesting. Thank you. All right, Christian Apologist, what would be the closing thoughts?
So usually when I leave closing thoughts, I like to give a name or a video for people to watch. And this one was the one that I brought up earlier. I watched this interview between a man called Dor Shahar, who grew up in Palestine in a Muslim family who didn't want to kill Jews and didn't believe that Jews had 3 legs and 3 eyes like his parents, his school and his grandparents taught him, and didn't want to bring victory to his family by killing Jews. Instead, he ended up finding himself leaving Palestine, age 12, living and working in a building site, and he's now a Jew. who lives in Israel, and he warns the world of Hamas. So again, yeah, his name is Dor, D-O-R, Shahar, which is S-C-H-A-R-O-R or A-R. And if you type in YouTube, Palestinian warns world of Hamas interview, it's on there, and the video, although it's really upsetting, it has a great turnaround at the end. I've actually messaged this guy after, and although Hamas tried killing him and stuff like that, and he is he's one of Hamas's most wanted men, and I'm friends with him now on Facebook. We've spoken. He's currently learning English, and I'm going to be trying to learn Hebrew, so that he's agreed to do an interview with me on YouTube, so he could help warn the UK and the West, because we got too many people here marching every Saturday in London, turning London into no-go zones for Jews and Christians.
Wow.
And all these people are marching, thinking they're marching for innocent civilians and saving children, when it couldn't be further than the truth.
The exact opposite of the truth, yeah.
Yeah, and they don't have a clue what they're on about. They don't know what Palestine is, who they are. And to be honest, when you want to find these things out, you need to hear it from the horse's mouth. So from two people, you have the son of Hamas. You can go find out. He's son of the leader. Again, YouTube, son of Hamas, warns. And the same thing with this Palestinian warns world about Hamas. And there you'll find the truth. You'll hear it from people who have grew up in Palestine, who have grew up in Muslim families and that are away from there now, and they will tell you exactly what it was like growing up with these people.
So let me also ask the audience again, I would love to see that interview. So if anybody out there is bilingual or at least knows Hebrew and English that would like to be part of that, please let us know, so we can get that done. Yeah, that would be awesome. And as far as, my closing thoughts, it would be basically people, Muslims, Islamists, people are showing solidarity with Islam, Hindus, Buddhists. I mean, all these anti-Christian people, and including, forgive me, I know I'm going to get some backlash, some pushback on this, but even Jews, people, it was John the Baptizer, the forerunner, who was saying, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. If you know someone who's Jewish, we need to bring them to Christ. So let's not get confused here. So do wrongs don't make it right. That's where I stand with that. As far as these Muslims thinking that they're winning because they're doing all these horrible things, take a look in the mirror, see what your life is like. And the same thing with the liberals, that are turning this society worldwide into a living hell. How is that winning?
It's like winning bipolar. I'm by winning. You understand winning. Wow, winning. Alrighty then.
Do you think so?
Well, isn't that special?
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, and a little tribute to the Green Prince there, the son of Hamas. Yeah.
Hooah!
Be worried. If I have to choose between 1.6 billion Muslim Arab clowns and my father, I would choose the cow.
Hooah! Sir, you're out of order.
Out of order? I show you out of order. If I were the man I was 5 years ago, I'd take a flamethrower to this place.
Hooah!
By the way, yeah,
I choose the cow.
I choose the cow. I think I've seen an interview with him from a couple of years ago, and I think he's like more like Hindu. Like he believes in reincarnation and stuff. The Green Prince, just putting it out there. I think that's why he says I choose the cow. I could be wrong.
Oh, there's a couple.
Oh, is there? Okay, you know about that. All right.
Yeah. No, it's a couple of reasons. So we'll see. We'll see. That's a good question to ask.
Yeah, I think they're the only religion that has a holy animal.
Yeah. So per request, again, keeping in mind, the video that we saw of this Muslim, they, them, whatever, using the child as a human shield, and all this corruption of children and all that, and baji and all these things that we will be discussing. The soundbite that a Christian apologist likes to hear here.
So will she allow me to make a rape on her? Yes, a rape. I would like to make a rape. No, I would like to make...
You know, she was 9 years old. Aisha was 9 years old. Emotional, damn it.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah. I've got a better version for Amir's channel. He said, we can't use that word. So I've got Great Babe going, Great Babe, Great Babe. I want to Great Babe, Great Babe. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here, for your contributions, and hanging tough with me. God bless you. And God bless. You're welcome every time. Thank you.
God bless. Take care.
I got to run. All right.
It was nice to meet you as well, Paul.